Tell me a little bit about your Mustang when you first bought it. What prompted you to think that you needed one?
That's a good question. So, since I'm the original owner, this was almost 60 years ago, and my father had a '65 Mustang for a while, and I loved it. So when I graduated from college in '66, I said, I'm going to give myself a present. I did all this hard work, and I was a geeky engineer guy, and I had my first job down in the San Francisco Bay Area. So to make a long story longer, I ordered the car. It's actually I ordered it to spec, and it was built in the Ford plant in Fremont, California, which is on the south east side of the Bay Area. It's now I think a Tesla plant, as a matter of fact.
And you went down to Marv Tonkin.
Yeah, and I bought it here at Marv Tonkin Ford dealership, and I still have all the original paperwork, and in fact, I have the original window sticker that shows it. And and I bought it, and it was hot out of undergraduate work, hot-footed it down to as an engineer down to the San Francisco Bay Area, in kind of a high-tech area before high-tech the terminology was even invented, and lived down there for quite a few years. So that's how I originally started with the car.
How did you go about deciding, because you picked the options for the car, how did you go about deciding what you wanted?
Okay, the main thing, I guess, is the engine. They came standard, I believe, with a 6-cylinder engine, but I think my father had mentioned to me that the small little V8s, which is what this is actually more efficient and is safer, because when you have a little bigger engine, the tires and wheels and the steering and brakes, I believe, are beefed up, and therefore it's a little bit safer. By the way, in those days, going from a 6 to an 8 was like, it cost a humongous $150 or something. I mean, I think it costs about the same as a radio. And by the way, it has an AM radio in it that still works. And of course, in those days, I don't even know if FM had been invented yet, but it wasn't available, I don't think, in cars. And then the other thing was, as moving from Portland to California, where it's sunny a lot, and I didn't really want air conditioning, because in those days I always felt they'd be the first thing to break would probably be the air conditioning. So I went through the list of options. They had, and it has tinted glass on the windows, so I thought that would keep it a little bit cooler in the California sun. And I didn't really want a convertible, but I like the looks of a convertible. So it actually has a vinyl roof. I think it may have been called a Landau roof. I'm not sure of that terminology. So it has a white Landau roof. And then I thought that, wow, candy apple red really looks great compared to this. And so it looks like I always call it like a fake convertible. But the real reason is because of its neat looks. Remember, I was only 21 at the time, 22. And also it was, non-air conditioned, but it'll stay as cool as it could be in the California
Well, it's
sun.
pretty amazing that you're the original owner and it's never been hit. There's no rust. It's just been taken care of. But it was used, but it's very, very meticulously.
because there's nothing else, like you say, it's never been in an accident, has a straight rust-free frame, so nothing else traumatic has happened, except I just thought it was fun to get up to 100 miles an hour for 30 seconds or however long I did it.
Well, you said a baseball hit the passenger side rear fender and put a little mark
right.
on
That
it.
little ding is still there. It's the only real ding in the body. It was at a baseball game, right? And a home run or something hit the car in the parking lot.
Do you remember when it happened?
Yeah, sort of. All I remember is everybody was laughing and everything because it wasn't their car. And the main comment was, well, at least it didn't hit a window. And that ding, if we wanted it, could be pounded out from the trunk, because the inside of the trunk, by the way, the trunk's all original also still, as are all the floor mats and the upholstery. Everything is that you see is 100% original.
You're right. I know it's
Even the spare tire in the trunk. That's what I was getting.
It's pretty easy to get a dent wizard to take the dent out, but I think the history intact, leaving that all intact and not getting all this repop stuff from overseas to it's 100% the way it came off the factory.
It's the way, right.
And then the next person can decide if they have to change anything, but right now it's all original, all there, and that's pretty special. Tell me a little bit about the stickers on the windows, the IBM stickers.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention, but when I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area originally as a wet behind the ears engineer out of college, that's what I worked for down in the Silicon Valley was IBM, because computers always kind of were fascinating to me. And remember, this is the day when computers were as big as a house. Remember the PC and the Mac weren't even a glimmer in anybody's eyes yet. I'm talking 66, almost 60 years ago. And once again, it wasn't even called Silicon Valley then. That term wasn't even in existence yet. Anyway, so that's what I did. So the original parking stickers, like everything else, there are a couple small parking stickers in the window still that say, I think there are two of them, they both say IBM on them, because one was probably from the California lab and plant and lab, and the other was from the Portland sales service office. Well, my parents lived in a condo. In fact, it's the same condo that I've inherited that I'm talking from right now. So for the last 30 or 35 years, it's been stored in the underground parking slot in this condo. So it's been out of the weather. And but when I brought it back, it sat around for about 10 of those 30 or so years, and I decided, I might as well get it, cleaned up. It's just been sitting collecting dust. So I took it to the local family-owned mechanic here in town that I know, and I said, hey, why don't you get this car really, not spiffied up, but street legal or whatever the term is, and repair all of the, the rubber parts, and just give it a giant, humongous tune-up. And they said that it hadn't been driven in so long that a small amount of gas was left in the tank, had to be boiled out, that kind of thing. But I have all the receipts. I have all the maintenance receipts from all 60 years of its maintenance, actually. So I have the paperwork from the day it was born or delivered until now. So I have all that, and that's part of the documentation here. This car is almost like my kid. It's the first car I bought, probably the first new car I ever bought in my life, right out of college before going to work. And I really now I don't like seeing it just sitting in the garage collecting dust. I'd just rather have it go to somebody that really would enjoy it, like I have for over half a century. I mean, it's just, I really like I say, I'll probably cry when I find out that it has a new home, but on the other hand, it has a new home.